Hello. Today is episode 7, and let's get real about racism. It is the first segment in Crossing the Invisible Line. As I reflected on the points that I wanted to make, I realized very quickly that I'm not going to be able to include everything in one episode. So today's episode is going to be brief. It has one point, and I want it to resonate with you. I want you to take the time and reflect on it before we move deeper into the other aspects of crossing the invisible line. So as we're in the midst of the Black Lives Matter movement and we're seeing protests like many of those in our country have never seen in our lifetime, it's been very intense. A lot of the white community is now realizing for the first time how difficult it is for the Black community to not just be successful, but to actually live. And so we want to do something about that. We want to change that. And first we have to change our own minds in how we see things, how we view other. So today's point is simple, but I think so deeply embedded in our subconscious minds that we're going to have to sit with it and it alone for a few days. Today we're going to talk about other and how our culture has conditioned us to hate and fear others. I want to talk about sports first, and I don't want to scare off any of my sports fans. Please stay with me. Sports is the American way. It's how we connect with our family members and friends and just let off steam and have fun, and most of us are very passionate about sports. But it starts in childhood. Almost every family has a member that's on a sports team at some point. And instead of teaching us to be our best selves, be great athletes, unite with others on a team to work together, what seems to be really embedded in the community of sports is not just hating, but despising the other team to the point where we want to destroy them. We've all seen evidence of this. We've all seen games that have been lost or had a bad call and people rushed the field and, fights broke out and people were hurt and it gets crazy. And that's behavior that we would never accept in our day-to-day society. And yet in sports, we just throw up our hands and say, hey, we're passionate about baseball or football. And it gets really out of hand sometimes. It also goes into other aspects of our lives. Let's look at politics. It's not enough to think differently. So many of us can't have healthy, positive conversations with someone whose political views are different than ours. We have to annihilate them, whether it be verbally on social media or cut them out of our lives altogether. And we have moved away from being able to have civil conversations and open up our minds to learn from one another. This translates into racism as well, because of all of the underlying fear of saying the wrong thing or being seen as racist. We don't have the important conversations with our Black friends and or the Black community in order to learn what they're experiencing so that we can change it and grow. We're missing that. So I want us to dissect how we view other. I want you to spend the next few days really reflecting on anything in your life that you have disdain for and figure out why. Is it toxic for you to think that way? Because we all know at this point in time that cancer and other diseases that destroy our body are often onset from bitterness, resentment, hate, frustration, holding anger in. And so this mindset is not a healthy thing for us, much less our community on the whole. That's my challenge for you this week. That's my call to action. Find something that you can't stand in your life, that just really makes you angry. It makes the pit of your stomach tighten up. If it's the Black Lives Matter, if it's white privilege, whatever it is that irks you, figure out why. Because it's probably not the movement. It's probably something within yourself that you need to work through first. And then we can get down to business. I'll see you next week for a second segment in Crossing the Invisible Line in our series, Let's Get Real About Racism. Have a good day.